Hello, everyone. Thank you, everyone, to join us today. It's a pleasure. One more event led by Macarena, our community manager. Well, I will do just a little introduction before we start. And well, we are here today with Macarena, our community manager at BitoWorks.
Hello.
She's a English Spanish translator working in health and wellness field. Also today we have Fiorella Martinez. Thank you, Fiorella, for joining us today. She's an English Spanish translator working in education, healthcare, and wellness field. And also Fernanda Gonçalves. She is English to French and Spanish into Portuguese translator working in education, agriculture, and tourism field. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. And now it's with you, Maka.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Hello, Fer. Hello, Fiorella. Nice to finally meet you. We've been interacting a lot through LinkedIn, and now, well, we're meeting here, so that's really nice.
Yes,
Uh,
nice to meet you.
I'm going. Sorry, I'm muting you because there's an echo. I think Fiore, when you need to talk, unmute yourself, and then yeah. Um, okay, so today we're going to be talking about focus and motivation while working. And hello, everyone who's saying hi in the chat. We can read your comments, we can read your questions, we can read your interactions. So please feel free to comment and also share your tips and your challenges that we are going to be talking about. Focus and motivation, and also some other concepts that are really interesting to me. Because when working from home, it can be pretty challenging to be focused, to concentrate on what we're doing because the boundaries start to be a little um, confusing. Where do I start and finish work in a time frame and in a spatial frame also because we are working from home. So this becomes more challenging. And also the motivation because sometimes we start working and then we have like a lot of projects during a day and we start procrastinating. We go do the laundry or make some food, and then we lost it. We lost the motivation, we lost the focus, and then it's hard to go back. So, girls, tell me, what have been your biggest challenges regarding focus and motivation while working from home? Fiore, do you want to start?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Well, hello everyone. Thanks for the invitation. Yes, I think you're right, Maca, regarding what you were saying, and I can say that at the beginning, when I started working as a translator, and one of my biggest challenges was to set a routine, yes, or to manage my time, and also to have a space where to work, because at that time I was living with my parents, so I used to work in my bedroom. And sometimes also I used to go to a cyber cafe, because I didn't have a computer at the beginning, so that could be very difficult, because you are in a space that there are a lot of other people, and well, to stay focused in that moment, it was very difficult. So I think that at the beginning those were my challenges, and now at this moment, maybe when you don't have any projects for some days or maybe a week. I don't know, it happens, and it's difficult to stay motivated, and so you have to manage and find things to do, or and to be focused again in your job, and to start um, to start working again. focusing again and motivating yourself with things. Yes, because like you can take courses regarding the areas that you work in and your interests. So that I think it can keep you motivated in those moments.
Thank you, Fiore. And Fer, what about you? Do you agree with Fiore? Have you experienced other challenges regarding focus and motivation? And also, I would like to invite people who are watching us from LinkedIn to also share their own challenges regarding this topic, so we can talk about it in community, and maybe we discover that we are all going through the same challenges. Fer, you have the microphone.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Macarena, for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here. Um, Maybe before sharing my own struggles, is it possible to share the poll or the results of the poll I posted yesterday on LinkedIn
Yes,
about
please.
the
Yep.
biggest challenges, yes, related to this webinar? So I want to thank you to the people who took the time to answer the poll. Um, and it's very interesting. So 46% of them said they get distracted very easily when at home. Of course, because we are surrounded by several distractions. 30% mention they don't exercise daily, so we know how important it is our physical and mental health. 19% mentioned they spend too much time alone. So loneliness was one of my big struggles uh, at the end of the time of starting working at home. And only 5% mentioned another reason. Um, One of our colleagues mentioned the neighbors' dogs barking. Well, it's interesting because it's something we can't prevent for doing so. Also, another colleague mentioned the fact that he didn't have a workspace. He needs to work in the bedroom, so not he doesn't have a separate area. And he also mentioned something important. We usually think about children and taking care of children, but he also mentioned the need to taking care of the elderly relatives, for example. So I found this quite interesting, and again, I'd like to thank the people who took the time to answer. Regarding my own struggles, um, I was a teacher during many years. So when I started working at home, my first biggest challenge was loneliness. So I was used to get out every day, to go to school, to interact in person with students and other colleagues, with the principal, with the writers I invited, because I was also a school librarian. Uh, so it was a huge change. And in spite of all the apps and the internet, it's very difficult for someone who spent more than 20 years um, interacting socially in a daily basis than to remain at home. At first sight, it seems very good because you are at home, it's comfortable, and even when I was a teacher, I like to be at home. So I like to be in my garden. I like to read. Um, but even though it was kind of difficult at the beginning, um, also I struggle with time management. As a teacher, I was used to a schedule. So It was everything was very well set up. Um, and when we are at home, it's kind of different, um, because sometimes we work more than we should, and there it comes my other biggest challenge, the overworking. Okay, we start working, and sometimes we don't uh, realize the time, how much time has passed, and it is not healthy for ourselves. So I had to take some measures to improve the situation. Um, Not sure if you want me to share some strategies I also applied, Maka.
Strategies? No, no. Let's wait for
Only
those.
the
Yeah, yeah.
okay,
Let's
the
start with the
challenge.
challenges
Yeah,
because also people are sharing some
yeah.
in the chat.
Okay, so um, my three biggest challenges were loneliness, overworking, and the time management, for sure.
Yeah, they seem to be shared challenges. So thank you, Fer. And I think that your poll was amazing to get these answers from people and also to start
Thank
talking
you.
about this and realize that it's not like a individual problem, but a community problem that we can tackle as a community and maybe yeah help each other and discover new ways of doing things. For example, Luciana says, I set activities for my week so as not to be at home 24/7. For instance, it's yoga, workout, going out with friends. So I think this is interesting to like
Yeah,
intentionally setting outdoors activities or social activities. Otherwise, it can happen, as you said, Fer, that we are going to stay at home 24/7 and it's demotivating because
yeah,
we are talking about motivation and it also leads to lose focus when you are 24/7 in a same physical space. Then it's very easy to lose focus and motivation. And then Maria Celeste says, I really like being alone, but every once in a while I do co-working with some friends that also work remotely. And Maria, how do you do this? Do you go to these people's houses? Do they come over to your place? Do you find like in a coffee shop or something? How do you manage? And then Fiore, how do you handle this? Being alone? Do you do something about it? Do you like it?
I like being alone. I live alone, and I am used to it. But I also teach English. I have my English groups in the afternoon, so I go out. Yes, so I have a few hours where I can talk with other people and do something different from the ones that I do at home. But I always, like Luciana said, I also set activity. Yes, I like, for example, now I have a routine and I follow like a schedule every day, and I like to finish quite early in the afternoon, so then I can go out and go for a walk, or go to my English classes, or meet with a friend. Um, I never did co-working. I never went to a place, and that is one of my wishes. Yes, and I like to start doing it, because I see that a lot of people do this, and it has a lot of benefits, of course, to be working with other people in a co-working space, so and share a moment with your colleagues, and make friends. Why not? So I only did co-working online. Yes, but well, it's something that I wish I can do. Yes.
Thank you, Fiore. And here, Maria Celeste is adding that she goes to their colleagues or other people's homes, and sometimes they come to my house, so they don't meet like in an external place, but they go to each other's places. Because I think here we have like also different options to co-work. As you said, Fiore, we can do it virtually, but then we are not actually sharing the space with other people. Or we can share our houses, we can go to a coffee place, we can go to a library, we can go to a proper co-working space. We have a lot of options to choose from. So okay, to recap a little bit, taking what Fernanda was saying, she said, she talked about annoying noises. She talked about not having a designated work area, loneliness, the challenge of time management. So now I would like to talk about our most successful strategies, and also to the people who are listening from the different platforms. What have been your most successful strategies to boost focus and motivation while working from home? And here I would like to talk about this concept of motive action, which comes from motivation. I don't know if this is a thing or I made it up, but I like to think of yes, now I'm confused. Motivation as what motivates action, right? So when we have a clear motivation, this motivates action. And for me, one of the most successful strategies to drive motivation has been connecting my personal interests with my job. When I started working in the health and wellness fields, I found my motive for action, because now I work with clients and projects that I really like, that I really enjoy. So that's what makes me want to work. Like, oh, okay, this project is really interesting. This client is really interesting, and that motivates me. Um, but yeah, also, since I think focus and motivation are not independent but interrelated, one of my biggest challenges, and when I try to work a lot on, is on my focus. And that's something I've been reading about and like experimenting with, and yeah, trying different strategies to boost my focus, which boosts my motivation, and also my motivation boosts my focus. But I think it's not something that we can like, okay, solve and then it's done, now we know how to do it forever, but something that we have to try and experiment and change, because we change, life changes, time changes, project changes. So we need to keep adapting to this. Fer, what have been your most successful strategies regarding these struggles or challenges you were mentioning?
About your made up word, motive, action,
Yes,
I
yes.
was thinking about when I have a long project that sometimes it's interesting at the beginning, but it's so long that it becomes boring in spite of the breaks and everything else. Um, my main hobby is traveling. I love traveling. So this may sound crazy, but it works for me. Um, my motive is to think, well, I want to visit some place, um, so I need money. Okay. So sometimes what I do is I just do a search on the web, a place I'd like to visit, for example. I start making plans, and then I go into action again because I remember that project will allow me to visit some place. Okay, it may sound crazy, but it helps me to have a motive, um, to get back to action. Okay. Regarding the biggest challenge I mentioned about loneliness, um, I've never tried co-working sessions. To be honest, I don't know if I live in the countryside, so I don't know if near me there's a co-working spot. I don't know, but I think I wouldn't like it because, as I thought it was Maria said, I also love to stay at home. So while I'm working, it's okay. It's fine to be at home. When I get out, is for unwinding. So I don't need to work out of home. What I try to do about these issues, this issue of loneliness, is to go to in-person networking events when possible, a lunch, for example, of translators in another city, to some conferences, but of course, this is not on a weekly basis. Um, and I also try, well, if not a lunch, at least to have a tea with a relative or a friend. Sometimes we go to a spot near my house, or sometimes they visit me. I call and they visit me, and that's my way of having some social the social interaction I need and I miss since the time I was a teacher. Um, I just find it difficult sometimes to arrange meetings with other translators because the breaks, all of us or each of us has a own schedule. So sometimes my break is not the break is not at the same time of my colleague's break. So I find it quite difficult to do that on a weekly basis. Okay, we can do it once a month or so, but on a weekly basis, I find it difficult. Regarding time management, I try to work using blocks of time. It take me some time, even when I was a teacher. It take me some time to get deeply concentrated. So 20 minutes to half an hour. So I usually work using blocks of 1 hour and a half or 2 hours. And then I make a break. Okay. I usually make a break and sometimes I go for a walk in my vineyard. As I said, I live in the countryside. I visit my dog Simba and talk to him. He never answers me, but that's fine. I talk alone. And so I try to do breaks always outside home. I have a garden and the vineyard, so my property. I have apples, so eggs and just things like that. So I try to do that outside because 20 minutes or half an hour outside, so just breathing the air, sometimes it's enough to make me better. Sometimes I feel a headache when I leave the home office, and when I come back, I've recharged my batteries to go on the project or to start another project. Regarding the overworking I mentioned, one of the things I stopped doing and that I did at the beginning was to accept rush projects, rush tasks. I like to help people, okay? And when there is a good relationship with the client, I'm always glad to help. And so on a daily basis, during 2 years or more, I accept daily tasks, rush tasks, even tasks after working hours. It was my choice, of course, and I was glad to help the client, but it was causing me anxiety. And I talked to the client and I explained that. Unfortunately, he and his team understood, and they respect. We go on working, but they respect my choice, and they understood it was not it was overwhelming me, and it was not healthy. It was not mentally and physically, because I was seated in front of the computer almost all day. So that's one thing I've done. And also, I take the breaks, as I told you before, precisely to avoid to stay glued to the computer all day. Okay, so I'm looking, having a look to my notes, but about time management. One of the things I do, and I think most of us do, is to list out the tasks for the day. Okay, I'm from the old guard, so I use an agenda. There are apps, of course, I know all of you use that. Have an agenda, and I usually list out the tasks for the day. I try to be realistic because I have to work, I have to eat, I have to sleep. Okay, and I think that's it.
Thank you, Fer. Wow, a lot of strategies, and yeah, Andreina was saying earlier that she faces the same challenges regarding routines, and that she finds it very hard to follow a consistent schedule. It's because we need to set our own schedule. There's no one outside telling us like, okay, you have to work from this hour to this hour. So it's a personal responsibility, and that can be like a great power, but also a great responsibility, like Spider-Man had. So yeah, I think it's also a shared challenge. And I was asking people how do everyone tackle the time management issue. And then regarding the solitude that you were mentioning, Fer, Rafet says that he enjoys being alone, that he can concentrate much better and produce more work, and that having people around can be a distraction from work for him. He feels it wastes his time and cuts your train of thought. And I think it's great that each person can identify, okay, like being around people distracts me or being around people helps me focus, because it can happen both. Some people focus better with people around, although it seems like a paradoxical, but yeah, some people concentrate better with people around and some people don't, so they prefer to work alone and then have extra social activities. So we have, like, I think, both options. And then Kiara said that she also likes being alone, but she lives alone with her dog, and she's in a new city where she doesn't know many people, in a small flat. So sometimes she finds it very difficult to always be productive at work. And Kiara, what have you been trying, or is this something like new to you? So you're like still discovering yourself in this new city and still um, trying to discover what to do. And what I would like to add here is that every challenge we face has a possible strategy. Like, what I have personally discovered is, like, in my freelance career, okay, I am facing this challenge and I don't have to stay in this situation. I can try different strategies until I find one that works for me. Um, oh, and here someone is adding regarding the boundaries that you were talking about, Fer, that they also like to help and it's really hard to say no, but we also have to help and take care of ourselves. It's a learning process. And for me, what I take from your comment is that you talk to your client about it. Sometimes we are afraid to set the limits, to set the boundaries. And what was your, like, mental prompt to say, okay, it's up to here, I need to talk about this and, like, set a boundary? What made you do it?
I am not an unhealthy person. So, for those who follow me on social media and on LinkedIn, I've already talked about my struggles, and one of my diseases is the Meniere's disease. It's related to dizziness, and so if I become more stressed, more stress. So stress causes me anxiety. Uh, and I decided to talk to the client. Of course, there was a long relationship, a long and a good working relationship, 2 or 3 years. Um, and so it was easy for me. I explained it, I was having health issues, and I don't know, they understand perfectly. So I was not trying to avoid the work. They understood. I was um, telling them what I was really feeling, um, and so all of them, all the team, uh, understood very well, and we are working till now. Of course, I don't accept the rush projects on a for the same day, unless an exception, if there's nobody else who can help the client. Of course, then I'm happy to do it, but not on a daily basis as before. And I'm very happy they understood the situation, and they kept working with me. So it means they value my work, and they understood my reasons. That's why I think we should not be afraid of speaking, of sharing our issues with the clients, uh, because clients are also human beings as we are, the translators in our case. Um, so, of course, they could stop working with me. Uh, but I said, no more, I can't. So I was getting sick. So I decided it was a decision I took, and it went well. Well, I think, of course, it depends. I was not working with the client um, just for 1 month or something like that. No, we had a strong relationship. We still do. Um, so I think that was easier for them, was easier for me to speak and to share my concerns about my health, and it was easier for them to understand and to know they can rely on me for other projects. um, so we still have a good relationship, a good working relationship, and I hope we'll continue to collaborate for many years. I hope so.
Thank you, Fer. And I think it's very valuable this that you're saying, because it can apply not only to, okay, no rush projects, it can also apply to, okay, I don't work in these working fields because I don't like them. I don't know how to address them. They don't motivate me. I cannot focus when working on these fields. And we can say, I'm these are not my working fields. I am focusing on educational projects or industrial projects. So we can choose which areas to work on and really choose those areas that boost our motivation and focus. So we can apply this to also, for example, I'm I only work from Monday to Friday because I know some people are afraid of saying no and they take projects during the weekend, and then that really affects their motivation, their well-being. And it's okay to say no. It's okay to say I work from Monday to Friday. And as you said, clients are also human beings. Either they will understand it and they will normally respect it. So it's great to first recognize our own boundaries and then communicate them in a professional way, and they will normally understand. Fiore, what have been your most successful strategies so far?
Well, like Fernanda said, like working for certain periods of time, for example, and have breaks. And I think I never had uh, a lot of problems with following a routine and all that. I am like very organized, so I have discipline. But yes, I sometimes, of course, it was a challenge because when you have like a project that is demanding, and you lose track of time, and you end up overworking, like Fernanda said. But I try to, yes, to work for a certain period of time, and then get up and move around. I do something here in my apartment. I go out, I don't know, to the market or something. Like I play with my cats. So I try to do things to like cut that moment, the working process. And also, I think that what always motivated me a lot was the love for my profession. Um, Sometimes it's difficult when you don't have work, for example, when you are starting. But I think that the love for what I do, I'm proud of being a translator. So that was a big is still a big motivator for me, and every day. So I think that is one of the main strategies, but more motivators. And then, well, I don't know. I try to, or I have. Uh, um, like organized working space, a nice working space, a clean, yes, working space, and tidy. That keeps you focused, for example. And what else? I also, for example, when I'm working, to be focused, I listen to music, um, and two things. I think it's are my strategies at this moment.
Nice, thank you. And you mentioned music, and here we have another like big yes or no. Some people listen to music to be more focused, and some people say that listening to music is bad for their focus. So they need to be like in complete silence to be more focused. But I think it's good to try and experiment and see what happens to us, like to our own focus, because it's very personal. So yeah, for me it's like you, Fiore, it helps me, but has to be like no lyrics music, only like focus music or instrumental music or even video games music. It can help you focus. So yeah, for me it's a must, the music. And hello Miguel, how are you? um well, thank you for sharing your strategies. um Regarding my strategies and regarding this time management issue, for me also in the beginning it was also I used to overwork a little bit, and I solved it this way. As when I was studying, like if I had to study 100 pages in 3 days, I would divide 100 divided by 3, and then I would knew, okay, I need to read this many pages per day. So now with my translation projects I do the same. Okay, if I need to translate 5,000 words in 3 days, I need to translate this much every day. And that way I prevent myself from overworking on one day and then just like getting more projects on the day 2 and 3, because now I'm free. So now what I do is, okay, I weekly I can produce this amount of words per week, and I respect myself on that. And so daily I try not to go over that limit. And then I can organize myself and have a healthy limit. Okay, this is my maximum amount of words per day. This is my maximum amount of words per week. And then I'm fine with that. I feel comfortable with that, and I can do like a good job also, because when you overwork yourself, then the quality gets impacted. That's not very good for anyone. Andreina is adding that she listens to all kinds of music while she translates, even heavy metal. Wow, okay. What works for me the most is classical music, or OST. Ooh, I don't know what that means, Andre, but I think it's related to classical music somehow. Um, and then also what really worked for me, it's well, I move a lot places because I travel a lot. So sometimes I don't find myself in a place that helps my concentration or my motivation. So I always try to find like a local library or a local co-working space, or when I'm in my city, maybe going to a colleague's house, because for me, changing places, I have proven to myself that helps me boost my own focus. So that's a thing I try to do intentionally. Andreina says that they are soundtracks for TV shows. Yeah, because they normally have no lyrics, so it's just like the instrumental, long, repetitive music. Yeah, it really helps me too. And then the third most successful strategy that I've discovered recently and I really like is reminding myself that the faster I finish the project, the sooner I'll be done with my job. So when I start procrastinating, I tell myself, okay, the faster I finish this, the sooner I'll be done with this. And I will be able to then, I don't know, clean the house, wash the clothes, and do the laundry, and, all the other things that normally we put in between the projects. And then the workday lasts forever. So no, I try to, okay, start and finish my job and then do all the other things. So that has been like great for me, and I share the strategy with you in case you want to apply it. Okay, we only have like 15 minutes left. So Fer, if you had to share your three best tips for everyone who is watching, which tips would you share?
Well, I think that first one, to have customized workplace. Um, I think it's important if you have a place of your own. I know it's not possible for everyone, of course. I had that luck when I started because I have a home office with a door, so I can close the door as I did today and told my daughter and my husband, just don't bother me because I'll be busy. Okay, so I think it's important to have a customized workplace, as Fiorella said, cleaned and with everything at hand, the printer, the paper, the agenda, I don't know, the dictionaries, everything you need. um, I think it improves the workflow. The second, um, I know it's hard for everyone, but I would suggest to eliminate all the digital distractions. Okay, so turning off, if you want, it works for me. If I want to be deeply focused on a project, um, I have to turn off the notifications, LinkedIn, Instagram, and so. And I have to set a time to check the email. Okay, because it doesn't work for me. Emails, seeing emails on the screen while I'm working. Okay, it distracts me a lot. The third suggestion is, well, I'll say four. That's fine. So the third is to define a schedule with your family, to prevent them for disturbing you. Um, one of my posts on LinkedIn was about the questions people ask us. What do you do all day in front of the computer? So is it really a real job if you are there? So sometimes I think even relatives don't understand that we need our space, that we need to work and to be concentrated. So I try to do that with my family. And I think then when our children at home, it is much more difficult, of course, because they are children, they don't understand, so they will knock at the door and interrupt. But it's a question, I think it's a question of educating them, okay, and then scheduling. Another suggestion is to take breaks. I think it's fundamental to do that, um, because it's the only way you have to unplug. Okay, so breaks are, if you most people usually say they can't unplug from the computer or for the job, um, because they don't do breaks. So I think this would be my best tips. But I think everyone, or each one of us, has to choose the best solution according to the reality that surrounds them, I think.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Fer. And Dalia is saying that she does the same with her mom. She closes the door and tell her, "I will have a meeting now, so don't try to open the door, please." And I think sometimes we need to use these strategies, like, because our families don't understand what we do, as you were saying. Like, maybe we are typing super focused, and they think, "Oh, it's okay to interrupt because she's not talking to anyone, or she's just reading and typing." But you are in this train of thought, or you are into the flow, and as soon as they talk to you, you lost it. So sometimes we need to say, like, okay, I'm doing something very important, or I'm in a very important meeting, so please don't interrupt me. And that way maybe they understand. And also, I read in a book that's called Hyper Focus, which is, I will write it here, Hyper Focus. um, Chris Daly talks about attention and how attention is a very limited resource. And as you were saying, Fer, that we need to educate people around us to respect this limited resource. And we need to find strategies, like physical strategies, that tell them, okay, I'm in my focus block. So please do not interrupt this because it's precious. And once I lose it, it's gone. So yeah, it's like an agreement, and we need to talk about it with people, with the people we share our living or working space. So I think that's very interesting. Anything else you want to add, Fer, or should we go to Fiore?
No, I could speak for hours, but I think Fiorella needs to speak too.
Okay, Fiore, your best tips.
Okay, I have thought of many tips, but I don't know. I have divided them. For example, to stay motivated, I think that it's very important to not to compare ourselves to other colleagues, because each one's journey is different and is unique. So uh, I will say that don't compare ourselves. And also, well, to create, it's good to create a network of colleagues in the community, to stay in touch and to have the support. Yes, support each other. And well, also, as I said before, to create a nice working environment. Yes, I think that that is very important to stay motivated. And well, and to stay focused, for example, I would say to have rest breaks and also movement breaks. Yes, rest breaks are very important, and also movement. Yes, we need to rest from the screen. Yes, from the work that we are doing. We need to rest um, from social media, for example. So I would say, as Fernanda, to turn off notifications or to leave the phone away and not interact and check all the time the social media to stay focused while we are working. And also a good night sleep is also good for our concentration. It's very important to have a good sleep, so the next day we can be productive or do the things that we have to do. Um, well, and also, as we all said, to follow a routine. I think that that is also very important to have to set a routine and try to follow it every day. So we create a habit, yes, and that is good for us to stay focused and motivated.
Thank you, Fiore. Amazing. And I think some of the tips overlap. So maybe these are tips that we have already tried and we have discovered that they work, and that's we are suggesting similar things. And so yeah, like setting a routine, I think can be challenging, but it's also very personal. So my first tip would be being aware that challenges are not our challenges don't define us. They are circumstantial, and they are just this, a challenge. And we don't need to stay in the challenge. We don't need to become the challenge. We can notice the challenge and try until we discover the strategy that works for us. Because maybe someone can ask, okay, how do I set and follow a routine, Fiore? And then your answer will be personal, will be for you, will be according to your circumstances, to your needs, to your skills and tools. So I think my first tip would be aware of your personal challenges, be aware of your personal situation and tools, be aware that you are not the challenge, that you can move from the uncomfortable state and try until you discover a strategy that works for you. But yeah, my first tip is don't stay there and try strategies. My second tip would be read this book that's called Hyperfocus by Chris Bailey, because I think that book is amazing, and it really changes your mind regarding focus and motivation. So yeah, for me that's like a Bible on focus. And my third tip would be to think ourselves as doctors, as if we were doctors with our, work schedule, and to give work appointments. So like, okay, tomorrow I work from 9 to 2. Okay, those are my available appointments tomorrow, and I'm going to respect it because I am a professional and I have my agenda, and I will respect that schedule this week. So to think ahead of your own appointments and work schedules, and first like have it clear yourself as if you were a doctor with very clear appointments to give, and then you fit the job into those working slots, and that's it. I mean, you don't allow the work to overflow you and fill your whole day and your whole week and your whole weekend and your whole agenda, because you have like very clear and set appointments that first you communicate to yourself and then you communicate to the outer world. So those would be my best tips. And I think we are reaching the end of the hour. But I would like, well, to ask people who are watching us, what do you think? If you would like to try any of these tips, and also if you have any tips to share, please do, because I think we can nurture as a community and exchange ideas. And okay, so before finishing, Fer, I think you wanted to say something else, or maybe you have some new ideas that you want to share after reading the comments or listening to us.
Well, unfortunately, I couldn't read all the comments, especially when I was speaking. But I'd like to, and I can't see the participants. Anyway, I'd like to thank them for being here and sharing also their thoughts about this topic. Um, Now, as you said, there are things I think you mentioned about listening to music, for example, and about what works for one person doesn't work for the other. Like you, I just can work with listening to instrumental music, not with lyrics. I love Andrea Bocelli, but I can't work while listening to him. And also, I remember you mentioned that someone, I need silence to work, and I set boundaries with my family to have that silence. But I remember I have colleagues at the university. They really liked it to study at a cafe, for example. So it depends on each one. I think that you must think, you must set boundaries. You must be aware, like you said, um, of your own limits. And please take care of your health. That's what I ask to everyone.
Thank you, Fer. Fiore, something else you would like to add?
First, I would like to thank all the ones who joined us and share their thoughts also. And yes, I would like to say I agree with you, Maka, that we need to try our own strategies. We can listen, or we can take tips from one tip, the other tip, and then it's, as I said before, each one's journey is different. We build it, so we have to try and try and I don't know, and discover which are the things that work for us. But well, of course, listening to other people or taking someone's advice is always good also. So we end up with our own I don't know, a routine or things that we need to focus and to stay motivated while we are working from home. That is not easy for everyone. Yes, some people find it very pleasant to work from home. Other people don't. So yes, we need to find our way.
Thank you, Fiore, and I really like what you said about not comparing with other people, not comparing our path to other people's path. This can be very demotivating if we do it from a mindset that, oh, they are doing so great, they have so much work, they are working on this amazing field that I really like, and they look so happy on social media. And then when we become very demotivated and like stop looking for our own path. And also this, I think, applies to these focus and motivation strategies, because we cannot take other people's strategies, but we can be inspired by our colleagues and think, oh, look, they are doing this, or they are trying this, or they are talking about this. So um, take this as a source of inspiration to our own path, and then take it and try it and expand it in our own lives. And then maybe we can also like start talking about what works for us, and the strategies that work for us. So yeah, everyone is saying thank you in the comments. Thank you everyone who's watching from LinkedIn. I don't think Rodrigo, are people only watching from LinkedIn, right? That's the only streaming
They
platform.
are watching from YouTube, from
Okay.
from from Twitter, X now, and Facebook also.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for your comments and your input and your what works for you and what doesn't. And thank you so much, Fed and Fiore, for joining with your super great and I can see that you have given some thought about this. And Fed, I think it's great that you ask people about their struggles, and to have this information as a community. it's really helpful and nice and warm, and makes us feel that we are not so alone in our struggles. So yeah, thank you everyone. Rodrigo, I'm not sure if you want to say something.
Yeah, I would like just to say thank you to Fer, to Fiorella, and you, Maca, as well. I don't know who are familiar with BeetleWorks. It's a pleasure host these Maca webinars about mental health. And for those who would like to test our platform, BeetleWorks.com, it's a TMS, and we have tons of features that are connecting with AI today. So if you would like to test our platform, so feel free to sign up. It's a 14 days free tryout. So yeah, it's a pleasure. So I loved the tips, and then I will try to apply one of them. We'll see. Okay, everyone. I think we are done. Stay informed, stay motivated, and we'll till next webinar. Bye
Yeah,
bye.
bye. Thank you.